right, let's talk about the strategy to help you understand how does Lion Group, facing the big change in travel is what is our strategy towards the travel industry. So there are five different parts. First is the free access theory. We want to optimize the experience and maximize the value. So that has something to do about total experience management. And second is the regional hub. The regional hub is the theory is to occupy the center of travel or tourism traffic and to actually have the maximum impact about travel, the human traffic. Okay, and the railway tourism, this probably has a lot to do with ESG. So it's the most energy saving and carbon reduction. It's a really good way to travel in Taiwan too, and but also in maybe in Japan and also in Europe. To travel through railways is always considered the best environmental friendly ways to travel. Okay, so number four is about travel tech investment, which is where my parts plays the most important role in here. So we talk about paradigm and transaction shift. Okay, five is about digital infrastructure. So it's the basis of smart tourism. And I think this digital infrastructure is often neglected in a lot of medias, but this is actually pretty important, and I'll share with you. This will probably give you a new idea about the market in Taiwan. All right, so uh, I don't want to cut into too detail of this theory because this theory can lead to it is an original theory in Lion Group, but I don't want to get into too much details. It'll be too complicated. But to put it in a simple way, it's about total experience management. So there are three parts: content, moving field, and fixing field. So to put it in the real user scenario, is content is when you see some kind of content, it will influence your travel decision, like when you see a video on YouTube. And then you would decide it, how would you like to move. The moving field has something to do with transportation. So you probably will order a flight, you probably can drive your car, you probably can order a bus, or you can get a train. It's the way that how you move. So it's about human traffic. And the fixed field is the actual place where you have your travel experience. So it has a lot to do with consumptions. For example, if you go to Disney World, Disney World will be an example of fixed field. So from you generated the idea about travel through the transportation process, and then to the experience that you have in the fixed field. This whole process all can be management. So our theory is, if you can, you know, maximize our control through the whole process, then we can actually achieve the goal of managing the experience of our travelers. So if we can achieve that, to manage the total experience management, then we have the ability to optimize the experience of our travelers, and also to maximize the value. Well, when we talk about value, we probably are talking about we'll get the most revenues and income through the whole process. So to put it in a simple way, total experience management is the essence of free access theory. All right. So, and second, let's talk about railway tourism. It's about energy saving and carbon reduction. This has a lot to do with ESG. I would like to give you a really simple user scenario in Taiwan. So Taiwan is an island full of mountains. So in the vacations, in the weekends, if you want to visit the mountains, like for example Ali Mountain is the most famous mountain in Taiwan. If you drive by your car, you will probably stuck in traffic for 3 to 4 hours if it is a if it is a famous holiday. But if you take the train, first of all, there's no traffic. You can have a really, you can really have a efficiency when you want to travel. You don't get traffic. Second is you can do all sorts of recreations on a train. So to travel in trains in Taiwan is actually a really good way, because Taiwan is an island with a lot of mountains. So if you take trains, there's a lot of benefits. And also, if you travel by train, your carbon emission is really really low. It's actually the best way to reduce your carbon trait when you're traveling. So in that, so because railway tourism has a lot of benefit, Lion actually invest in trains, and you can see it on the upper left that we actually invested in trains, and a government actually gave us that train for us to operate exclusively. So we call it a future train. So on that train, you can have a Michelin restaurant. You can have a really good restaurant on the train, and you can also have a lot of really innovative tours, 1 day tour, half day tour on the train. You can stay on the train for the whole day. You can also, they will stop for a bit, and you can visit different locations. So this will give you the example of the trains moving in Taiwan. So it moves in the mountains, so you get a really good view. You don't get traffic. You can enjoy great food. You can have a lot of fun on the train, and then also when the train starts, you can just go to different locations you want. So railway tourism is the best way. It's actually a really good way to travel in Taiwan. And second, let's talk about paradigm shift. So we invest in travel tech and to create growth. So with this graph, you can see from consumers to suppliers, there's a lot of things happen. So Lion is a really strong channel in Taiwan. We have um, about 700,000 members in Taiwan, which we can access. So we also have the media. So we also have MetaLion is our Web3 NFT program. So that's the channel, and in the platform we have a lot of investment towards hotel OTAs and luxury OTAs, and long range taxi, and we have also franchise system about with travel agencies. And to the supplier side, we have we have Martech. We actually have a really strong relationship with the GDS company, so we get really good price when we help our customers to buy flights tickets. And we also have Riversoft. We invest in Riversoft, which is travel agency ERP system, so they can generate a good ERP system for all the travel services in Taiwan. And Derbysoft is actually the I think it's actually right now the biggest channel manager system to serve all the five-star hotel system in the whole world. So they themselves is a pretty good company, which have a lot of customers from all the hotels. And Foundry, I just mentioned, Foundry takes us about take care of all the ticket service for the suppliers. So to our investment is go from consumers to suppliers. All these investment is all we call it travel tech. So the purpose of investing in travel tech is um, to achieve a better service for the travelers and tourists, and for our customers. All right. So when the paradigm shift, it's actually a pretty fun thing. We will talk about that a little more later. But when paradigm shift, actually the most important thing is transactions actually shift. So as you can imagine, maybe 20 years ago, there is no Booking.com, there's no Expedia.com. And right now, a lot of transactions is actually generated in these online OTAs. And Lion itself, we are also an online OTA. So because we utilize internet a lot, our first internet system launched about 1998, and we have a really big growth from 2000 to 2010. We have a high growth. From 2010 to 2020, as you all understand that it's a high growth from the mobile internet market. And in that era, we didn't really do a really great job. So our revenue generated from the apps is not really significant. So right now we are trying to catch up with that to invest in the next trend. And to catch up with when the transaction shift, we want to be the companies that can enjoy the new transaction growth. Okay, so let me share a little bit about the problems about the Taiwan tourism industry. So two major numbers. So there, to put it in a simple words, that insufficient digitalization and insufficient value. Less than 20% of all the accommodations, which means hotels, are sold online in Taiwan. So that the number, you might be surprised, but actually, if you go through the statistic numbers, less than 20% of the hotel is actually, because in Taiwan, it's a small island and people is actually has enough knowledge about where they want to live. So the fastest way for people is actually just pick up their phone and make a phone call, and they can make a reservation. But when you do that through a phone call, you are not doing that online. So the percentage has grown significantly in the past, but still, if you consider the whole market, less than 20% of the accommodation is sold online. So that is the hotel part, and that is already pretty good. And that is already a good number in the hotel industry. But when he talks about experience, like the tickets for the like tickets for the attractions, less than 2%. For example, the National Palace Museum, which is the most famous museum in Taiwan, and when the tourists from the other countries visit Taiwan, they always go to the National Palace Museum. Uh, in that most famous museum, only 3% of their tickets is sold online. So most of the ticket is either sold to from traditional channel, or they're sold in on site. They have a machine, they have a machine on site, and you can just buy the ticket on site. So, but we do that, you're not selling the tickets online. So the problem of the scenario I'm talking about is, if you cannot digitalize the product, then all the foreigners, they can't see or buy uh, the product. So I think that's actually, it's actually also a part of the paradigm shift. So if the product and service cannot be digitalized, then it will generate a serious problem that you cannot sell the product online, and you can't reach to foreign market. So that's a major issue. But the thing is, right now we are cooperating with the government right now in order to push for this, I call it the digital infrastructure of smart tourism. So basically all the services to help the digitalization, digital transformation in the travel industry. All the services are already there, but the problem is they cannot push through the market. So the market, they can by themselves, they cannot push for market to change. So we kind of like cooperate with the government to push for, to combine the strength of technology industry and the government to help the industry to push for the digital transformation. All right, and let's talk about paradigm shift in the travel industry. Okay, so this is a like a big story. I would really like to summarize it in a easy way. So I would just divide it, the whole travel industry, into three different stages. So the first stage is travel agency. It serves like people, and the key word is information asymmetry. So all the travel agencies, we will assemble the product, but since the you know the consumers, they don't have the knowledge towards the plan, or towards the places they want to go, so they kind of like have to trust the travel agencies to buy the package, the tour product. Okay, so the keyword is information asymmetry. And into the second stage is the online travel agent. This is where the internet technology comes into play. And so, I think you guys are all familiar with all the services like Booking, Expedia, and also Lion Travel is also. So basically, everything is digitalized and put online, and you can compare the price, you can find the product you want, but and since the information is more transparent, the price of the product dropped more and more, and the consumers enjoy the better service and enjoy bigger freedom for them to arrange their own travel schedule. Okay, so that's the second stage. It's still happening right now. In maybe, for example, in Southeast Asia, Traveloka is a fast growing OTA. So this online travel agency model is still growing right now. And the first generation travel agency right now, the market is still there, but the market is kind of like they don't have future growth potential. Uh, or we can say that the market of traditional travel agency is actually shrinking right now. And the third stage is right now, when we look at right now towards 2030, what is going to change in the travel industry? I put what free and a question mark over here because I'll just give a direction. I don't have an exact number, exact answer on this topic, but I'll give you a direction is that right now, all the transactions are centralized to all the OTAs, including like Lion Travel. So we handle all the transactions. All the customers have to go to us to buy all kinds of travel product. And you have to go to Booking to buy flight tickets. You have to go to Expedia to buy the hotel, to buy the reserve the hotel. So all these transactions are centralized into different big services. But when you go into the what free era, um, the whole thing could be changed because the sales of the travel industry could be decentralized. So you have technology that can empower individuals. So every individuals can become a sales point, but that individual has to be empowered by a system in order for that individual to show their potential value to generate transactions. Now, I'll give you a really easy example. In the past, everybody's watching TV, so all the televisions enjoying the most of the traffic. But right now we have YouTube. So maybe individual one YouTubers cannot compete with the television station, but when you have 1 million YouTubers, the combined traffic of 1 million YouTubers is much more than a television station. So basically, that could probably happen in within the next 10 years that maybe the transactions can will not only be centralized into all these OTAs. There's a big possibility that Web3 can attract a lot of individuals to join the travel industry, and all the individuals powered by a certain system can have the ability to create the travel product transactions. So that's a vague direction, but I would just like to share with you. And um, I'll give another. I'll give you another number for you can understand what is the impact of that. Right now, like most OTA, we pay a lot of internet marketing expense, like Booking. They pays about 30% of their total revenue to within all the most of the online marketing. In a way, they pay 30% of their revenue to Google in order to get the keyword search. Okay, so that 30% of the revenue, instead of paying to Google, you can probably share that 30% of the revenue and become like a profit sharing system with all the individuals. So in that way, I think you can imagine the future could be quite interesting if you have a lot of if you have a lot of individuals which can become the sales point that generate all the transactions. So there's a lot of to talk about with a paradigm shift like AI and all that, but I would like to focus on the travel industry since that's where Lion has the most resources in. So uh, we are heading towards the next stage of travel industry model, and Lion is the strongest player in travel agency model in Taiwan. When we also are the online travel agency too, and right now we are investing in all different kind of technology to help the company to go forward to face the Web3, maybe the Web3 model in the future. Okay, so that's about. And next, I would like to talk about the transformation and upgrading about the service industry. Okay, so in Taiwan, maybe within most advanced economies and countries, actually most of the GDP is not generated. It is not generated by the tech companies, most of the GDP is actually generated from the service industry. This happens when when the company's economic is mature, like U.S. And Europe, also in Taiwan. More than 70% of the GDP is generated not through the tech companies but through the service industry. So in Taiwan, I think you all know TSMC, the biggest, most important semiconductor company in Taiwan, and we call it the shield of Taiwan. Uh, the meaning is that this company is so important that it actually has a role play in the international politics right now in Taiwan. So there's a saying that the U.S. government values Taiwan a lot because TSMC is so important that if the war happened and TSMC got hit, the global semiconductor industry will take a great hit. So TSMC has a great role in Taiwan. People think it's a great company. Okay, so but why does this happen? It is because that they generate a service that all over the world, the semiconductor industry needs TSMC to provide unique service, and so they play a pretty important role. So if in semiconductor company they can generate that kind of like value, we can also generate this kind of value in the service industry. But the key is to generate a global income. You have to become a service that uh, a lot of foreigners or a lot of foreign company needs your service. And if you can serve a lot of people globally, then you will have more important you have more importance in the industry, and more people knows about you, the more significant value you have. And but how does this service industry can be upgraded into the high value service industry? I'll just give a really simple example, because Singapore actually has achieved this kind of high value service industry model. First, I'll give two examples. First example is financial service. So financial service is a really high profit industry. We talk about private banking. We probably talk about stock investment. We talk about personal loan and the financial system. So the financial service generate a big revenue. Uh, Specifically international revenue. Singapore has done a pretty good business in the financial service industry. Maybe also, for example, Switzerland also is a really famous financial service provider in the whole global world. So financial service is an example that it can generate really good global revenue and take to attract all the capitals from all over the world to go in here. And also, that's the first example. The second example is educational service. So, for example, Singapore has achieved this in a pretty good way too. So Singapore attracts a lot of foreign students to study in Singapore. Maybe it's college, or maybe it's graduate school. So imagine when you go to a country and take their college to get their college degree, you spend like 3 to 4 years in that country. Imagine how many capitals that you bring into that country. So educational service is another example that service industry can attract a lot of global foreigners to use your service and bring a lot of capital into that country. Okay, so but in Taiwan, we regards of financial service and also educational service, we all have pretty good environment and the infrastructure to provide that kind of service, but we didn't really do well in that two areas because this has nothing to do with the people in Taiwan. It probably has a lot to do with politics because um, we have pretty strict restrictions when it comes to financial service and educational service, but that is politics. That is not economic. So, but to prove that when Singapore actually did pretty well in those two industry, and when we talk about, but that's only two examples. The service industry is a big industry. It has a lot to do when it comes to restaurants, stores, and all that. That is all parts of the service industry. But how can we increase the value of service industry? There are in the left hand, you can see there are two ways. First, you have to utilize the technology to empower, to increase maybe the efficiency or the benefit. So technology plays a pretty important role in there. And second is the capital acceleration. So imagine right now all the famous new rise up OTA like KKday or Klook in Asia, they are all cooperated with international capitals to accelerate their growth. So to cooperate with the capital market is also another really important method to increase the value of service industry. And also in Taiwan, it's pretty important that we have to transform our recognition, transform our methodologies to head towards the brand, because when you have a brand recognition, people actually buy into whatever it is your vision or your brand spirit. They were willing to pay more. For example, if you buy an iPhone, it is definitely more expensive than the other smartphones, but you still buy an iPhone because you recognize that brand. You really agree that iPhone, you agree with their the morals, like think different. So if you have a brand, if you can provide unique service, differentiation service, you can actually convince the consumers to pay more and increase a better value in your business. And the last is you have to form like an ecosystem, because one company itself cannot change the industry. The industry is like a funnel. Like right now, the startup ecosystem is also a funnel. So the funnel itself is like in the shallow part, in the shallow part you have a lot of participants in the shallow part. And then when it comes to the downside of the funnel, you have superstar on the end of the funnel. Then that superstar can, maybe go for IPO and become a big company, and then inject the value back to the shallow part of the funnel. Maybe a lot of new students can also join that ecosystem. So that ecosystem can allow a lot of participants to grow in that ecosystem. And maybe in the beginning they are really not good, but they can still survive and they become better, like the major league in the US. So if you're a really good player, you can just go to major league. If you're not that good, you can go to the free A league. Or if you're really not that good, you could go to the regional league. There are different levels of the ecosystem that can accommodate different different levels of individuals. So the ecosystem itself is a pretty important things too. And the government also plays a pretty important role in the ecosystem. For example, TSA is also the organization that cooperate with the government to create a startup ecosystem, to welcome the startups in Taiwan to visit other countries, or to welcome startup from other countries to visit Taiwan. So ecosystem is also really important when we talk about the upgrading of the service industry. But to summarize this theories about the upgrading about service industry, I think technology empowerment and capital acceleration plays a really important role. And the strategy itself is Taiwan is an island, so we probably have to all become a pirate, but not in a bad way. I mean, pirate is that pirate needs to earn money from other countries, but not just to think about the domestic market, but to think about the global market, to think about global income. Um, uh, I'll give a really easy example: the Singapore airline and the Korea airline. Korea airline spends a lot of money try to get the market of United States, and to tell the consumer in the United States to buy flight tickets from Korean airline, but they didn't succeed. But Singapore airline actually did a pretty good job when it comes to the foreign market. Why is there a difference between Singapore airline and Korea airline? The key is this is a pretty interesting story. Like Singapore airline from the beginning they have a mindset that their founders actually tell everyone that we don't have a domestic market. So if we don't succeed in the international market, we will not survive. But the Korean airline, they have a pretty strong domestic market because Singapore is a city. It's actually not a big country, but Korean airline, they have a domestic market. So they don't have that determination to go for the global market. So I think that's a crucial difference between their starting point. So then the result is Singapore airline, in the beginning, they target the English market pretty well. Then most of the representatives all speak in English, but when it comes to Korean airline, they they still use a lot of. They didn't put enough of effort to serve the English market, so they didn't succeed. But Singapore Airlines did a pretty good job. I think that has something has a lot to do with the mindset. So if you don't have a mindset to serve the global industry, you probably will not succeed in that. This will also apply in Taiwan too. So a lot of Taiwanese company, they probably only focus on serving the domestic market. So that could be that could be a shortcoming for them, because that would really hurt if they want to generate global income. Okay, so let's talk about ESG. Okay, I have to be frank. I have to be frank that I used to be a venture capitalist, and right now we are doing the travel industry investment. So ESG, um, is it like a cost or opportunity? Because ESG actually is, I think, the whole ESG started when we are facing the global the environmental crisis. So people knows that global warming is causing a bigger and bigger threat to everyone. So I think that ESG is a trend, and it is a trend that recognized by a lot of international funds, like pension funds or national funds. So right now, all the government, they are cooperating together to push for regulations to guide all the enterprises to set up their strategy or set up their product and service according to the regulations. So right now, ESG to the enterprises, it is more like that we have to do this because it is probably will become uh, an official regulation that the government asks the enterprise to comply. But without the regulation part, a lot of enterprises were not voluntarily to do that. So right now, ESG is important because it is a crisis that we're all facing, and the government are working together to push the regulations. But I need to remind that, um, for example, if you're doing investment, your number one goal is to generate profit, is to generate growth and profit. And when we're doing the travel industry, we need to ask ourselves a fundamental question: is that when people are travel, are they looking for fun or are they looking for meaning? Can you just tell them that this is environmental friendly trip and they will pay you a premium? So I think we could probably should all ask ourselves this question: is that to run a business model, the first priority is obviously to survive first. That means we have to generate income and create profits. And ESG, what kind of role does ESG play in your business model? I think that is the key question. And like Lion Travel, we're running a service industry. Um, I think the number one priority for Lion Travel is still to provide the service that our customer need. So we cannot be the side that tell them the answer. We cannot tell the customers like this is really meaningful. The government asks us to do this, so you need to pay me more money for that. That is definitely not going to work. But if we can package that in a good way, we can tell a really good story, and to put that spirit into the tours, and more if more and more people are willing to, pay more, or are more interested in this special kind of like topic that is has something to do with environment, then of course the enterprises will follow. My point is, we still serve the customers. So if the trends change, if the customer change, then we will change. So right now, I think ESG is still at the stage that we enterprise have to comply, but that is still can be considered a chance, because if the regulations are go that way, then most of the enterprises have to comply with that. So there is already a lot of services, consulting service to help the enterprises in Taiwan to what kind of like mission should they do in order to comply with the new regulations. That is also an opportunity. But from my point of view, I don't think the regulatory constraint is a natural evolution, because if you don't have that regulation, then the end, I don't know if the enterprises will be full voluntarily willing to do the same thing. But again, ESG is right now very popular because we are all facing the crisis regarding about global warming, and also I think the importance of environmental protection, carbon reduction will be a topic that it will be more and more important in the future, because right now obviously we can all see the climate change is a worse is getting worse right now. Okay, so I think that's about. Oh, shoot! I spent a lot of time. I spent too much time on that. So we probably have like 10 minutes more for everyone to give me your comment or questions. I think that already there's already some questions here. Let me take a look. All right. Sophie say nice to meet everyone. Okay, that's me. Oh, Sebastian. Please, Sebastian, if you have any comment or questions, please.
I have a question. So Taiwan is seen as a very technological advanced country. Why do you think Taiwan's travel industry has such a slow adaptation of digitalization and digital transformation?
All right. That's a really
That's a
that's a really good question. My answer is I have a specific word for that. It's called a curse of success. So imagine this: if you can already generate a really good business through phones, why do you need internet? If you can already have enough orders and make enough money, people already calling you and make reservations. Why would you need internet? So I call it the curse of success. So if you're already doing well, if you're already making money, then the motivation about applying new technologies will not be that big. So to summary in that, I'll call it just the curse of success. Lion Travel actually faced the same problem too, because we're too successful in the first stage of PC internet. So that actually reduced our motivation to apply in the mobile internet era. So we didn't do really well in the mobile internet because we're too successful in the PC internet. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that's the major question. That's the major reason behind this lack of digital transformation. And also the second thing is, the travel industry has a really weird character that I'm not really sure why, but travel industry is an industry that transform in a really slow pace. Maybe it's just because there are still um, I don't know how to do. I don't know how to explain that, but the people in the travel industry, they tend to care more about the interaction between people and people. They are not tech guys. So the if you're really good at the interaction from people to people, you probably won't spend that much more time into technology itself. So I think that's another reason. So generally, the people working in the travel industry, they prefer to interact with people face to face. So that probably reduce their motivation to apply new technology. But I'm just saying that's a general description. Right now, if you are YouTubers, if you are a KOL, you can do really well in travel industry because you can easily generate a lot of transactions, and if you can generate sorry, a lot of traffic. With that traffic, you can transform that traffic into transactions, then you can make pretty good money in the travel industry. So actually, the people who apply the new technology will enjoy the growth more. And the people that probably pretty successful. I'll give you another really interesting example. Do you guys know American Express, right? So American Express has a Centurion card that is also for the rich people. The card is for rich people. Right now, they are using human laborers to do their service to book hotels. So if you use the AE service to book a luxury hotel, they will have a real person talking with you to help you to book the hotel. It takes about 1 to 2 hours if you book a hotel through that. But do you know if you use Booking.com or Expedia to book a hotel, it takes about 1 second. So the rich people right now is actually has a worse service than original people. That is really weird because normally rich people has a better service than the ordinary people. But right now, the truth is AE is actually using human labor to offer their service. So the rich people, their service is actually worse than original people's service.
Mhm.
That's it. That is, and also another example about this curse of success. All right, that's just my explanation. I don't know if I answer your question right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
All right, Chen Yijing. We can probably have two more questions. Okay, please.
Oh, hi. My question will be around since you already shared like some of the endeavor that Lion has already worked on, specifically on ESG for the environmental causes. What about the social and governance part? Like, what are the plans for whether investing or executing or just like plans around the social and governance part in ESG?
When we talk about ESG or ESR, sorry, CSR, it's actually like CSR is another topic that enterprise have to value a lot. So when we're doing maybe the social welfare, right? So Lion really cares about social welfare. So we do have cooperated maybe with schools or we have a lot of good tours or a benefit that we offer to the students with more the poor students and all that. So we cooperate with school and enterprises to hold a lot of events to seek for the social welfare. So that's one thing. And about the about the internal cultural stuff, the governance part is that Lion also seeks for the welfare of our employees. So since we're doing the travel business, right, it's a business that people should enjoy their jobs, right? So in Lion Travel, we have a lot of programs that our employees, our co-workers can also have the benefit that company offers for them to. I'll give an example. One of my friends here, they just have their honeymoons to Thailand. Accompanied by their honeymoon to Thailand is provided by the company because we are running the market in Thailand and we want our employees to enjoy their life. So we actually offer them a free tours for their honeymoon to Thailand. So I think in order to create the a good culture in the enterprises, I think that has a lot to do with the governance itself. So to create the welfare of our internal employees is also another goal. So for the environmental part, it's really important. We want to run the railway tourism to do the carbon reduction. For the social part, we try to create the social welfare to cooperate with the other enterprises or school. And for the governance part, we want to create an internal culture for our employees to enjoy their life. So I think that's my answer to your question. I don't know if I answer your question well.
Thank you, thank you. I would also like to ask, like, if like in Lion, is there a independent kind of organization or department that is in charge of this ESG or CSR, the whole thing, or is it like all like is it all implemented in all of these departments, for example the travel department, the online booking department, and whatever, like
Oh,
how can
we do have a committees, directly under the board to push forward the ESG model. So we have a committee, so with a lot of high level management in that committee. So that committee is directly under our board. So it is a pretty important thing right now in Lion too.
thank you, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Maybe last question. I think our time is about to end up. So is there any question, or just give me any comments when you hear that? I do hope I can help you guys a little bit to understand our Taiwan market.
So, here I have one question. So, as Ryan, you are one of the judges for the upcoming contest. Can you maybe share some insights about what to expect from these contestants, or are there any tips that you would like to give them?
Mm, okay, I used to be a venture capitalist, so my suggestion is pretty simple. There are three keywords. Three keywords. In a way, all the VCs care about is three keywords. First is your business model. Second is your development strategy, and third is your financial forecast. So that three keywords represent three things. First, your business model. Can you convince the judges that our product and service is the right product and service, and how does this model works? Can you describe it in a really good way? And second is, in order to push this model to grow, what is your strategy? How can you serve the market? If you want to go to Taiwan, if you want to go to Southeast Asia, how? What is the best strategy that you guys can come up with to persuade the judges that I can have a really good way to push my model into that market? And then third is, in order to prove that your model is right, your strategy is right, what is the number? Do you have an actual number? You have an estimate number? And how can you prove that your numbers are right? Your numbers are proper or reasonable? So I would just give my suggestion is you have to focus on that three keywords, because I think that is what most of the venture capital they care about is that three keywords.
Thank you, Ryan. Does anyone has other questions?
Maybe the last one. All right. Well, no question. That is also okay. But it's really I'm glad I have a chance to share with you about Lion Travel and the paradigm shift and the service, and also about ESG. And I hope you guys have a great great online session.